Welcome back to the All In Kosciusko podcast. I'm your host, Matt Duell, and today we're heading to downtown Warsaw. There's been an incredible amount of momentum happening right in the heart of our community, and one very exciting component is the newly launched Main Street Warsaw 2030 strategic plan. This is about so much more than buildings and sidewalks. It's about energy, culture, and vision. And joining us today are two of the people helping to lead that charge. Rob Parker, President and CEO of the Kosciusko Chamber of Commerce, and Terry Sweeney, Downtown Development Director for Main Street Warsaw. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
My pleasure.
Great to be here.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. All right, so Rob, let's dive in. If you can, for me, help everyone to understand, how does Main Street Warsaw interact and sit under the umbrella of the Kosciusko County Chamber?
So I could give you the long answer and the history and everything like that, but I'm going to try to condense it and make it real simple.
Fair enough.
Kosciusko Chamber of Commerce is the employment agency for all individuals that either work for Main Street or the Chamber. And then we have a memorandum of understanding with the board. They're two separate boards, two separate individuals, and we have a memorandum of understanding with Main Street Warsaw that says we're going to do the activities that promote and enhance downtown Warsaw. So Terry and myself are chamber employees, but we both work hand in hand with doing things for Main Street Warsaw. And what's beautiful about that is that we have great resources on the chamber side that can bring to bear for Main Street, and we're collaborating instead of being competitive.
Love that.
I can't tell you how many other communities have a chamber and a Main Street in that same community, and they butt heads. And this allows us to be, like I said, collaborative.
Just hand in glove.
Hand in glove,
yeah.
And what's great about it is it extends the resources available to Main Street. So it's not just me or just Rob, but the entire staff of the Chamber has some role in what we do in pursuing the mission of Main Street Warsaw.
Yeah, and I would say most downtown organizations, Main Street organizations, are fully volunteer.
Okay.
And so this allows us to really focus and do some great things in our downtown.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So Terry, you stepped into this role as Downtown Development Director just last year, right? Mm-hmm. Talk to us just a little bit about the day-to-day. What are you doing on a day-to-day basis?
You know, the way to look at it is we work on each day to develop, manage, and market downtown. And that looks, I call it sometimes herding cats a lot, right? And I think the easy way to look at what we do is we're the mall manager for downtown. But it's a lot more difficult because we don't own the property. We don't have leases with the tenants. So like I said, we herd cats. But we work to help develop the product, make sure it works well, and then drive customers to spend money in downtown, just like a mall manager would do.
Excellent. All right, so we've got this just awesome 2030 strategic plan that we'll link in the show notes and places for people to find. I know it's on the Main Street Warsaw website. How did we get here? What brought on and inspired the need for this?
Well, so I started in May of 2024, and at the June board meeting, we decided to expand the board to bring on more representation from the businesses in downtown. And with a new team, we thought it was really important that we get on the same page and really take a look at what we think our vision and priorities should be. And so in order to do that, we said, okay, we need a board retreat and we want community input. So we also hosted a public open house. But I thought what was really neat and really important is the new board then broke into committees, and they were charged with helping develop the priorities that then each of them would present at the board retreat and public open house. And so they worked 60 days to kind of develop this. And then we also took those priorities ahead of the board retreat and public open house and created a survey that we distributed. And then we had that data with us when we started the board retreat, and we had some research and things that we had integrated priorities from other plans so that we were moving forward those priorities along with what we were kind of germinating with our discussions. And so then we gathered in August, had the board retreat, and had a public open house. Over 100 folks came to the public open house. So what was really neat with this process is over 400 people really were able to provide input into the development of the plan. And then we took the coming months to kind of meet with additional stakeholders and civic leaders and decision makers and let them know what we were thinking this plan would look like, get their buy-in, and then we're able, with that, getting very positive responses, able to launch the plan in February of 2025.
Yeah. So it's not you sitting in one spot making all these decisions. It's the fingerprints of the community are all over this thing. You're just kind of an air traffic controller, so to speak.
Yeah. And I think it's really important that one, as a board, that we are invested in this, that we, and an organization that we believe wholeheartedly in it. And then our partners have to as well. And so it's really important that we built that foundation and build it, pretty wide. And then the community, if it's not something that they're wanting, then we're wasting our time, right? So it's really important that we engage with them and really are on the same page with up and down the spectrum.
Yeah. Excellent. Anything you'd add to any of that?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, back to maybe the origin is it's a community development organization. So our focus is developing the community of downtown Warsaw.
Yeah.
And Terry has done an amazing job of coalescing our downtown stakeholders to be able to come up with a great plan for us to put into practice to really enhance our downtown.
Love that.
Yeah.
So the plan talks about downtown Warsaw being the heartbeat, or being the front door to our city. Would love to hear from you guys. Why does that matter? Why should places like a Milford or a Mentone or a Leesburg, why should they be caring about downtown Warsaw?
Well, I think first of all, downtown Warsaw should be amenities for the entire population of Kosciusko County. It should be everyone's community's gathering place. And with its amenities, it's a place where you come to be entertained, to socialize, to gather as community. And with that, I always say that your downtowns are really where you celebrate your biggest moments in life. It's where you say, hey, this is where I want to come, and something wonderful in my life happened, and this is where I want to celebrate. It's also where, again, coming together as community, whether with our special events or just to come to the farmers market, and it's just a place to socialize and connect with your fellow residents. And then, in a kind of more strategic kind of economic development, it's an employment center, and a place where people make incomes and where businesses are located that benefit all of the county. And so hopefully that's why people think it's important, and why in some ways it is truly the heartbeat of the county.
Yeah, and I don't want to diminish the other small towns in our community. They have great downtowns. And I would say all of us are a flavor of an ice cream, right?
Yes.
Some people might want Rocky Road and cookies and cream and vanilla, and that's fine. But what we want to do is enhance downtown to make it really special, because it is the largest city. It's the only city in Kosciusko County. The rest are towns. And so it is absolutely the heartbeat of our community, because it represents the most people and the most opportunities to make something really grand for our community.
That's good. So in the plan, there's also mention of downtown generating more property tax per acre than any other area in the county, which is significant. How does that impact our broader community development efforts?
Yeah, well, kind of give some sense of scale for folks that there's 38 acres in downtown Warsaw that we call our mission area. And it generates, I think it's $1.3 billion of property tax. It comes out to about $33,000 per acre.
Wow.
The city average is $4,300 per acre. The county average is $320 per acre. And Walmart is about $8,400 per acre. So let me kind of put that in perspective. Downtown Warsaw generates 100 times more property taxes per acre than the average county parcel.
Wow.
It generates 78% more property taxes than the city average parcel, and about 40% more than Walmart. on State Road 15
Yeah.
and that entire property.
Wow.
So it's what I call an efficient funder of government. So why is it important for development and things? We mentioned that it's an employment center, a center of amenities and a gathering place, but it's also a good return on investment. So that when the city or the county invest in downtown Warsaw, they're getting a good return on that investment.
Excellent. Excellent. So I was told there'd be no math, not my strong suit, but you explained that really, really well, because what it sounds like to me is the more thriving downtown is, the more income that's being generated to fund some of this development opportunity for us.
And essential services provided by each level of government.
And think of it, it's so dense in a downtown that you don't need services spread out over miles and miles to get great service for our downtown businesses.
That's a great point. I didn't even talk about the consumption of services, right? Just the generation of income. And that also includes schools. So when we talk about development, it's also then funding government and funding services and funding schools.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so you mentioned before, Terry, how you all did a lot of hard work to get a lot of voices in the mix, to get that community feedback. What do you feel like was the loud and clear message you heard from the community of, this is what we want to see downtown?
Yeah, from our surveys, a couple things came up. One, they feel there's a lot of momentum for downtown, with the millworks going to be starting here shortly, with all the new businesses that came in just within the last year into downtown. And then they really enjoyed the special events and the local dining and shopping that they're able to do. Some of the things that they'd like to see is they'd like to see more evening hours from our businesses. They'd like to see parking issues addressed. And they'd like to see more dining options.
Parking issues?
Yeah.
There's parking? Come on.
What are we talking about?
Well, sometimes I put that as, if you don't have a parking problem, that means you're probably out of business.
That's right.
Right. So, but there's some things that we can do to improve parking, and we're working with the city and stakeholders to address that. And some things will be coming up shortly. But they want to see more dining opportunities, some outdoor dining opportunities. And then I think they're more interested in special events, more of that.
Like entertainment, arts.
Late night entertainment options. I think a lot of people really would love our downtown to not, die at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
To really be vibrant into the night.
Yeah.
In some ways, you could say that we're leaking spending outside of the county, because you have to go outside the county to get that. So a lot of folks are going to South Bend or to Fort Wayne for that type of entertainment.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so let's talk about a little of the vision laid out in the plan. It's bold, it's exciting. It talks about walkable, artistic, vibrant, connected cultural hub. What's the big dream here?
Yes. So we want to be a culturally focused district, and we want to grow what we call the creative economy. And how did that come about? One, through the stakeholder input that we had, but also there is just a vast amount of talent here in Kosciusko County. When you talk about the worship arts, the visual arts, and people who love music and don't want to necessarily only do it in one type of venue and one type of setting. And so we want to see how we can weave art and music throughout the downtown experience and give talented people a chance to thrive, and then use that as a way to attract more creatives and as a talent retention and recruitment for the entire county and the orthopedic industry.
Yeah, great. So with this plan, just covering so many things, Rob, what would you say we get to 2030? What success look like for us?
Success is little steps along the way. There is no one magic bullet, but it's going to be little steps along the way, and it's going to take patience.
Yeah.
It's going to take perseverance, persistency, but we're going to get there by making sure that we're doing each little thing well and bringing people together to collaborate on this plan that we're launching. So success to me is really when downtown becomes even more vibrant than it is today, It stays open a little bit later. We have more venues where people can gather and find entertainment, and there's less leakage for local dollars, and there's more dollars being spent locally. That, to me, is success. And we're moving in that direction really well, but there's more things we can do.
That's great. That's great. Anything you'd say to when you say, hey, there's more things we can do? What does that mean to you?
Yeah. Well, in our survey, some of the things that came up was family programming and health and fitness. So we're working on some of those things to broaden the experience of downtown. We'll do pretty good at shopping and with eating and drinking, right?
Okay. Yep.
But folks want to be able to do more than just do those things. They want to be more active.
Sure.
And if we're going to be the community's gathering place and the community's living room, then we need to include the entire family and make it easy and exciting for them to be in downtown.
Yeah, great. And while I couldn't agree more with the patient side of this, of we're talking about things that are going to take years, it's pretty exciting to know that there are things already in motion, right? So what are some of those exciting things already in motion that people should be keeping an eye on right now?
I'll let you go ahead and do the projects.
All right. So a number of different projects that are very, very exciting and will change the landscape physically of downtown and the vibrancy of downtown and the density. So I know that's a lot. But so Millworks is where the former Owens grocery store used to be.
Sure.
That is getting very close. The bonds were just approved this week to be support that project. The city approved, the Redevelopment Commission approved those bonds earlier this week. And that'll be an 85-unit apartment development with 5,000 square feet of commercial space. That will be a $25 million investment in downtown, on the west side of downtown. So that area there will just begin to change overnight after 18 months of construction.
Sure.
And then the city's really hard at work with putting together a Buffalo Street development, helping to link Center Lake with downtown. And that will also be an apartment development. And then, there's the Gatke that's underway. They've done demolition and are starting.
The Union Station lofts there.
Yeah.
On the old Gatke property.
Yeah. On the old Gatke.
And so, even though that's a little further away, these will all impact downtown directly. And then the city's really making some headway on a Marsh project in the former Marsh building.
Sure.
And so those things will all, as Rob said, there's no magic or silver bullet. You got to have a lot of things happening. And then some of our work is to make sure that those projects are successful once they're up, and that there's a ripple effect, and we fill in those gaps, right? So I always call it the big projects are the sexy projects. The heavy lifting is that how do you fill in the missing teeth, right? And so that's why organizations like ours exist, is to make sure that you protect those investments and then leverage those so the community's better.
You forgot one.
Which one?
Parking.
Oh,
do you want to talk about parking? Because that's important.
And I think what's exciting about this, so, this is coming out of some of the planning that we did.
Absolutely did, yeah.
That we've brought forward with the 2030 plan, but also because of the orthopedic industry retention initiative.
Yep.
And with some of the ready dollars and things, that the city and county have partnered together to do a parking garage downtown that will help address some of the long-term employee parking challenges that the county has. And we're hoping that that can be paired with a new development that would bring more people downtown. And so, like you said, this sometimes takes years, and we know patience and persistence.
Yeah.
But it's they are at the doorstep right now, and we can't thank enough the leadership of the city and the county and the way they're working together.
For them to work together to come up with this solution for downtown is huge.
Absolutely.
Because it gives us infrastructure that we can build from to do exactly what we're trying to do and bring more people downtown more routinely to experience fun and great events.
No, and I think what you said there is so key, Rob, because you think about a parking deck and it's not that sexy, exciting.
Sexy. Yeah.
Come on, parking deck, seriously? And it's, do we even need a parking deck right now? But it is that piece that builds for the future.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important. We have so many dollars available to us outside of local taxpayer dollars.
Right.
That we should use that to invest in our future. And that's what the parking garage does. It gives us that investment for the future.
Yeah, parking garage structures are not going to get cheaper in the future.
No. Right.
And the dollars that are available to help support city and county dollars, I would call it a good buy, and will lead to additional investment from the private sector.
And when done well, parking garages can really actually look good. They don't have to be just gray concrete blocks.
Yeah.
They can actually look really nice and fit the facade or the motif of a downtown.
Yes.
And so that's what we're really pushing, is to make sure that we have something that fits our downtown, not just
a bunch of concrete
a
to throw
bunch
some
of concrete
colors in.
thrown together, right?
No, I love that. I recently saw, I think it was a parking garage in Fort Wayne that you drove by, you almost didn't
You
even
didn't know it. And that's the goal, honestly,
Yeah.
is to say, this is just another building in the downtown.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk honestly here with a big vision like this, big projects, there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be some of those headaches, some of those moments to remind patience. What are some of the hurdles? What are some of the challenges we're maybe facing right now?
Yeah, I think we hit it a little bit with when we were talking about keeping focus, the persistence and some patience, right?
Yeah.
But it's also working together, continuing to work together. And if we don't do that, then there's going to be challenges. And obviously, funding is a big part of any type of implementation of a program or a project or a plan. But we're fortunate that, again, we've built this base wide with buy-in from civic leadership, from private sector. We've seen people have more interest in what we're doing and wanting to put dollars associated with it. And then we are at a fortunate time for Kosciusko County and Warsaw, and that is that we do have ready dollars that we're looking to compete and bring to the table, as well as the ORI dollars that can help leverage what the private sector and the local government and county are doing.
Yeah.
And so I think there's reason to be very optimistic. And as we mentioned just a little bit ago, there's so much happening that's just a snowball effect, right?
Yeah.
And so the plan, when there's challenges and things, right now we're as we say, leaning into it, we're all in.
Yes.
And that this is really going to move forward. And I think everyone should just be so excited to be a part of Kosciusko County right now.
And the one you forgot was Grace College.
Oh yeah.
With Catalyst Corridor.
Yeah,
I mean, that's another
$27 million.
$27 million.
Yeah.
That is going to be leveraged to get, over $100 million close to of investment in our community.
No time in history, right?
No, nothing like this.
Right. And when you talk about ready, there's kind of a twofold thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is there's some money that's already been committed, like to the Millworks project that has come from Ready, but there's a whole other opportunity to apply for more Ready funds, and that's what you're talking about, right?
Right. So one of our priorities in the 2030 plan was we want to become a certified cultural district at the state level. And so we now have retained a consultant to help us develop a cultural development plan.
Yeah.
And the new Ready dollars you're talking about is funded by IEDC and Lilly Endowment. And part of that focus is for cultural amenities and the arts. And the region of the Northeast Redevelopment Authority got $45 million. Okay. So we want to make sure that we are well positioned to compete for those dollars. And we believe that the cultural district planning process will identify those projects that hopefully are ready to be submitted when the Ready portal opens, we think later this summer.
Excellent.
And so we're trying to be intentional and forward-looking and to be able to say, hey, Kosciusko County is ready and different ready, is ready, and here's our priorities and our projects.
Yeah.
And our consultant also will then be working with the Northeast RDA's consultants because they're doing a regional plan to make sure that we're tracking with them. And so when we come to compete for those dollars, we think we'll be hopefully successful.
Great. Very good. So you've mentioned a couple times private investment. Talk to me about the role that plays. How can downtown stakeholders lean in?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we're already seeing that, which is exciting. With engaging so many people in the process, we're seeing heightened interest to become supporters, otherwise known members.
Yeah.
We're seeing more people interested in sponsorships for the things that we're doing. And that's shown in, one, they believe in what we're doing, but also they want to be associated with what's happening. And then I think there's the opportunity for people to support local businesses downtown, to even think about starting businesses, to coming to special events. And so I think that we're seeing more of that. We've launched a couple new special events here recently, and we've seen increased attendance and things like that. And it's been good to see the community react to what we're doing.
I think this is a good opportunity to talk about what we're doing in June, which is going to be so exciting.
Yeah. So again, as we looked at what we have as assets downtown and how we're trying to be culturally focused in the community's living room, well, we have an event that's almost like the community's front porch, and that is called Les Dinner en Blanc. I know it's French. It means dinner in the white. And so it's a themed dinner that will be held outdoors, al fresco. And it will be in the streets of downtown. And so picture, if you can, that downtown streets will be blocked. That will be long tables lined up with white tablecloths and a little bit of greenery on the tables. People come dressed in white. And the food is provided by the downtown restaurants. So 110 Meadery, Alchemy, Biryani, and La Troje all will have unique 3-course meals, and you can sign up for. And then we'll have a cocktail party around the courthouse with live jazz, and then people will adjourn to their assigned table. And at the conclusion, will be a dance. So we will have a dance floor in the middle of the intersection of Buffalo and Center Street, and a live band, so people that can dance under the stars. So it's a great way to bring community together, showcase the talents of our culinary anchors in downtown, and then just have a great time.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's going to be a great time, a blast.
That is going to be a blast.
Yep.
Yeah.
So cool. And it's not just these, it's not a one-off event. I mean, you're doing a number of things. I mean, things like the Coffee Clatch. You come up with really unique names, by the way. I'd never heard of a Coffee Clatch before you, Terry, but such a cool event where at all of our local coffee houses, we're having music and people to get together, and just so cool.
So what we're trying to do is, can we make more monthly events, give people different reasons to come downtown on different days on those things. So the Coffee Clatch is on Tuesdays. Right now they're the second Tuesday of the month. We just had one a couple days ago. And what was exciting about that, we have Clatch. Well, this event's going to clatch on. All right. So
it's like this all day, right?
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah, okay.
So, but we talked about the depth of talent that we have here locally. So we have really, the hook on this is music in the coffee shops, coffee destinations. So this past one, we had some of the staff members from Wagon Wheel performing.
Yes. Yeah.
We had an award-winning artist from Goshen area, and we even had student musicians. And so it's a way for people to come into downtown and just in a very relaxed atmosphere. You can be chatting, carrying on conversations. There's games at the coffee destinations that we have, and just listen to music and be part of being downtown and socially connecting. And so we're seeing people from family with young children to teenagers, college students, and then even folks like Rob and I.
Old guys.
That's awesome. That's
so
great.
I think we had in the coffee destinations this past week, close to 70 people come to the event.
Yeah. So cool. And Such a great experience, such a cool opportunity to do something different on a weeknight. I was at the one where the wagon wheel folks, and I mean, my jaw was on the floor. It was so good. So really appreciate the work and the creative things you're coming up with. So as we think about for everybody, okay, resident, business owner, even a student, right? We have all of our, school population from our high schools to our college students. How would you guys encourage people to be all in on downtown?
Come downtown early and often. But no, really, again, supporting local businesses in the downtown, coming to special events, bring friends with you, and really, it's a great way to be a part of the community of Kosciusko County by gathering in downtown. And so I think that's how they ought to be all in.
Yeah, you know what I'd say is we have a really special community. We hear it all the time. We're unique in Kosciusko County. And what makes us unique is our community. And the community comes together and we share quality time with each other.
Yeah.
And we're open to making more community conversations and more community friends. And we're welcoming. And so this is a great opportunity for people who maybe haven't had, if you're newer to our community and you haven't met somebody new, come to these events and you'll meet a new friend.
Yeah.
So put yourself out there, come downtown. If you know of somebody who's new to town, invite them, welcome them, because this is a very welcoming community. And what we want to do with downtown is make it the most welcoming of anybody in our community to feel just like home. We want this to be home.
Love that. I love that. So as we wrap this up, here today and we think about this plan, I get the sense of, if you're someone who maybe you didn't get in on the front end of giving some feedback, this is not a closed book, right? There is opportunity to engage, connect, have your voice be heard. What would you say about that?
The first thing I'll tell you is that's not going on the shelf somewhere. That is something that's always going to be edited. It's always going to be changing.
It's more living, breathing.
It's right.
Active,
it's a guideline to where we want to go. It's a roadmap, but it doesn't mean it has to be followed exactly, or it doesn't mean that, we've done our strategic plan, let's just go on and do our thing. It's going to be our guideline, but it can be changed. It's not just hard set in stone, but it is a guideline to where we want to go.
Yeah, and in some ways we're adding to that right now with the
Right.
cultural
Absolutely.
district planning process.
Yes.
And as you mentioned, how can people provide input and stay engaged?
Yes.
So our consultant for the cultural district planning process has created a website, and it's called WarsawArtsPlan.com.
Okay.
And on it, you can find out what the process is like and also offer feedback. But there's also a survey on there. So we want you to go to that website and take the survey, and that will help guide what this cultural district plan will look like.
Yeah.
And help guide the future investments when we talk about trying to grow the creative economy.
Excellent. So I had the privilege of being in one of your meetings yesterday, and I'll just say this firsthand. Sometimes you can go to these things and think this is a rubber stamp moment of they're just informing me, but you had a very active conversation, and there was a moment where you shared, here's a problem we're trying to solve, and one of the organizations sitting at the table had a solution to one of the problems, and I thought this is so cool to see in real time people stepping up and saying, we can be a part of that.
Well, and what was funny about this Rob wasn't there, but we had engaged that organization previously when it was under different leadership 18 months ago, and they had an exact opposite
feeling.
They wanted to go in a different direction, and so this conversation was incredibly enlightening, and now we're partnering, and I think I'm hopeful that it has legs and it will be a great benefit to the community.
Yeah, no, and that's great. And to me, it's an example of, again, wet cement.
That's right. Yeah.
Opportunities for people to step in, be a part, sign up.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Sign up.
And with plans, also one thing I like to say, plans are great, You know why? Because you do have a sense of direction, right?
That's right.
But also, if you're doing really good following that, you can do open field running because you're organized and you know.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, I didn't think about that. Great. Well, guess what? We can pivot a little bit and do this. So that's where you always have to have flexibility, but you need to be able to pivot and do that open field running.
Anybody hear of COVID? So yeah, there's things that come up that make you pivot, and
you have to.
you have
be
to.
adaptable.
Yeah,
Good.
that's right.
Good. Well, guys, this has been incredible. Before we wrap up, anything else we haven't talked about that you're saying, hey, coming in here, I really wanted to share about this thing?
No, just reiterate the website, warsawartsplan.com, because, again, we're taking input, and it's really important. We want to hear from you.
Yeah,
excellent.
Definitely.
Excellent. Perfect. All right. Well, downtown Warsaw isn't just a place. It's a mirror of who we are as a community, as a culture, as a county that is growing and evolving. So if you want to help shape the future, also visit mainstreetwarsaw.org or stop by the chamber. Whether you have ideas, energy, or just a love for this place, you are needed. So Rob, Terry, thank you so much for your time, your generosity to be here with us today. For all of you who have tuned in, thank you for joining us. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Until then, let's keep it going all in for Kosciusko.